We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We who believe in freedom cannot.
Hello, and thank you for tuning into the Mother's Justice Show, 1150 KKNW. My name is Serwa Ashford, and I am filling in for Reverend Harriet Walden, and I am with the Mothers Impacted by Gun Violence. And we have two special guests on today, Mark Rivers and Jeannie Lewis. And I also have a co-facilitator, Patrice Thomas. Patrice, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Patrice Thomas, and I am with Mothers Impacted by Gun Violence, also with SWAT.
Thank you. And so, welcome to our community focused radio show. We're here today to tackle the pressing issues of gun violence and the impact in our families. We have a fantastic lineup of guests for you, and we are deeply involved in the virtual conversation. So let's take a dive in and start with Mark. Would you be willing to introduce yourself for us? Okay, maybe we'll come back to Mark. Jeannie with Lewis, would you be willing to
Hi.
introduce yourself?
Yep. My name is Jenine Lewis. I'm the mother of Elijah Lewis, and I lost him April 1st of 23. That was my son. So yeah, I'm
Okay,
glad to be here and an opportunity to share.
okay. Thank
No.
you, and we're glad to have you.
Yes.
Um, let's start out with let's kick things off with what do you believe are some of the most effective strategies and policies that we could be implementing that would significantly reduce gun violence in our communities?
The initiatives and the policies, there's a place for them, right?
Mhm.
Initiatives is like the definition of initiative is a fresh approach to something difficult, right? So for me, with the experience I've had, which is very little, it's just been a little over a year, being affected by my son was involved in gun violence. He was shot and killed, and my grandson was shot in the leg
Mm.
in the whole process. He's okay. My grandson made it through, but it what what I'm what I am pressing in and learning how to embrace are the relationships, the transparencies, the stories, and being authentic when coming into spaces with whether it would be a rally, whether it would be a city council meeting, whether it would be an event honoring one of our loved ones, or or in a planning meeting for our healing garden, that is Martin Luther King Healing Garden, and you're in the room with city leaders and state leaders. You go to Olympia and you're representing an initiative or a policy. It's the communication and holding people, and I don't use that word lightly, but accountability is huge. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mhm.
And
It does.
reciprocity, because we're coming with our hearts bleeding. The mothers are, right, or the
Yes.
fathers, or the uncles, or the sisters, or
Mhm.
the children of our parents. We're raw and we're open and we want change. So it's emotional, it's real, right? It's like you can't even describe it. And I'm sure if we collectively all got together and shared our experiences, it would be, we would come up with hundreds of different words to use when it comes to how to approach this, and who do we go to? So I think it's a collective thing. I think it's all of us together being in one sound, like-minded, and coming with our organizations, and coming with our experiences, and coming with our collectives that we either have co-founded or the businesses that we've co-founded, because many of us are entrepreneurs as well. But I think that, the police department, everybody, we all have to, kind of wash our hands, like fold, like roll down our sleeves and come in this collectively. And then we are, I'm not saying we're not, but I think that, being transparent and then, and then in coming back, there's accountability. There has to be accountability in some way, shape, or form. Whether if it's words, if it's actions, okay, well, what does that specifically look like? You know what I mean? It can't be just a meeting where we go over the agenda and then we meet next month. You know what I mean? So that's just my personal take on all of this. And I'm not saying that these meetings are not important, because we do need to come, we do need to come to the plate or whatever, to the table, so to speak.
Right.
And address them.
Exactly. We have Mark available now. Mark, would you be inclined to introduce yourself and what organization you're from?
Yeah, it's Mark Rivers. I'm with Community Passageways. I am the deputy director over our community safety teams.
Thank you, Mark, for coming.
Thank you for having me, for sure.
Great. And so I'm not sure if you heard the question, but the question around building more effective strategies and policies that can be implemented to reduce gun violence in our communities. Like, what will it take to end gun violence in your view?
So when you say the word gun violence, that's a broad stroke, right? So I mean, there's gun violence that happens, yes, in our community. There's gun violence that happens in homeless encampments. There's gun violence that happens, outside of our community. So I think the broad stroke of that word is sometimes the issue. And are we talking about community violence? Like, is that what we're really talking about? Our young people being killed?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm. This is my response to that question. And so I think that we just have to be specific about what piece of gun violence that we're actually trying to go after. And it's really about the way that our young people think and about how they deal with their trauma and their emotional residue behind the things that have went on in their upbringing. And so I think that we just need to be intentional about the way that we build with young people, and then have a true goal of where we're trying to take them as far as their mindset change. I think as far as policies and things like that, I think that the government officials, at this point, the work has been like CVI work has been done for years. And so getting money that's earmarked, that makes sure that we can continue to do the work that needs to be done. People are funded, and we're not always scrambling for dollars, because the only way that I think that we get to a place of success is longevity, by being consistently there. I was part of SYVPI, Seattle Youth Violence Prevention Initiative, and we had a season of like 4 years. I want to say like 4 years, where we had no youth homicides between the ages of 12 and 17 years old. And that took a collection of people around the city. But it also took time for us to build that foundation, and then for us to have the things in place that actually worked.
So what I really hear you saying is that consistency is going to prevail, better outcome. And I think we all know that, but I think like what you're really speaking to is like the level of consistency. And I totally agree with you. Not having to scramble for dollars and making sure that they're there every year, to continue, because once you build that foundation, it's great to continue to build up and out from there, to have the capacity to do so. And if not, then you kind of start back off at square A again.
Yeah, and I think we also have to know that we're always in a fight. There's people who make money off our kids dying, right? So there's people who don't want these things to work. And something like SYVPI, it's a double-edged sword. So we had that success, right? And then because the data showed that kids weren't dying at the same rate, they took the funding away because they said it was no longer needed.
Oh, so once you achieve the goal, then it's
Yeah.
like, okay, it disappear. Okay, I get what you're
Yeah.
saying.
So
There's
what
no
does
more
success
need.
really look like? You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow
That's
when
why
you
we got to just stick together and, mean what we do. And because gun violence is really crazy out here, especially towards our youngsters.
Yeah.
It takes a village, like they said back in the day. It really takes a village to raise these kids. And just because you're not their mother and their fathers, don't mean that we cannot guide them in the right direction.
No, it takes a relationship.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It takes a village and making,
Yeah.
a relationship with that child. Make them trust you and let them know that it's gonna be okay. And you don't have to go that way.
right. So I have another question here, and it almost seems like it's might be about the same, but um what other initiatives or programs that either you or Jeannie organizations have launched that support survivors for gun violence and by creating safer environments.
Jeannie, you want to go first?
Sure, that's cool. It's Jenine.
I
Just
mean,
to be
Janine,
Janine.
on that.
Sorry.
That's
No,
okay.
that's
That's
right.
okay. It's no thing. That's okay. So out of Elijah, I call him E, but when he had passed, we chose Elijah Lewis Day to be on his birthday, and this was the last year. And we met at Seward Park, and there was a proclamation, and it was on my heart to call it the Solace Track. And the Solace Track was a journey. At that point, I was in the throes of losing him, and the community was hurting, and my family, we were going through, and there was a lot of things going on in the city and just on the news and so forth, right? And a lot of noise. And I was just like solace. And so this was like a journey. And I felt like, wow, this is going to be a journey. And so it just stuck. We had a reflection. Irvine came down and read the proclamation, and then we walked around Seward Park. And then after that, it was like that first week was coming up, and it was just on me, and like, you know what, I want to continue to do this. And so I just started welcoming everybody, just putting the word out, putting a flyer out, and people just started coming, and we have like a reflection. We get together, we walk around, you can, it's a safe place to come. It's a secure place to be. And people share, and we kind of work on ourselves. It's like like introspective things that we work on maybe throughout the week, the month, and we come back and we share our progress or share our struggles, or and there has been so many testimonies of people, coming, just it's an experience. I can't explain everything all in one sitting, but it's just, we have a chance to go to the Stonehouse afterwards, and we collaborate, and people share what they're doing, and just like it's just like a little small hub where we can create, kind of be creative and come up with other ideas and other events. And there's so many, like my sister, like Patrice was saying, this is happening daily. Our babies are dying daily, and my goal, my mission is to provide as many events or as many safe places for people to come, that are positive and where people can create and share, you know what I mean? And get that support that they're seeking, because that's what Solace is all about. So it's helped ground me. I've worked on it, had a chance to work on myself and grow that way. And then also just know that there's people there that will listen, and it's powerful. It's powerful. So we put, we had Elijah, there was his anniversary. We had, like a spoken word, and we came together and we met at a restaurant, and then we had a lantern release on that weekend of November 4th. And it is for Ian, the spirit of Ian, and all that he, the community stuff he did, and then legacy that he left. But it's also for all of us who are dealing with, whatever trauma or thing, due to gun violence or death or loss of whatever kind. So it's open for all of us. And it's usually the first weekend of it's the first Saturday, like 10:30 of every month. But this next in December, it will be the second Saturday. But that's one thing. There's other things that I do, but that has been a real powerful vehicle to provide space for people.
Yeah, for us, I don't know. We don't have too many spaces that we hold for that specifically, but
Mm-hmm.
we do our best to make sure that we go and support um,
Okay.
those spaces. Um, I guess we have a program called Family Restoration, and when somebody is shot, we work with the family to be able to, if they aren't deceased, and we work with the family and the moms just to be able to like survive through that traumatic time of them trying to get their loved one healed. You know,
Mm.
um, and what does that look like to pay her rent? What does that look like to take her and buy her groceries? What does that look like to get funding to take care of the young ones that are in that household as well? Um, yeah, and then build with their son or their daughter as they try to get their life back on track. And in the cases that they their life is lost, then we pay for funeral costs. And then I think one of our biggest things is connection. Again, it takes the village, and not one organization can do everything,
That's right.
but one organization can care enough to make sure that we do our part.
Mm, I love that.
Okay.
Thank you,
I
Mark, for
would I
sharing that.
would really like to say that I can speak to both of you guys' answers. So I got a chance to be involved in the Solace Walk. And it was really refreshing. I like the whole idea of we started, if you walk the loop around Seward, everybody usually starts the regular way. And we started from the tail end part. And the way that it was put to me was that, you get a different view from walking, from starting from the end point. And that was so profound for me at the time going through the walk. And then I met a lot of other nice people, and it really was a solace experience. And I just want to make sure that I as well invite everyone else out that wants to participate and is looking for a healing and safe place. That the walk is amazing, and it was very powerful. And also, Mark, to community passageways, the family restoration. I myself was a recipient of emergency services
Mm-hmm.
for the murder of my son, and it really did lift. Um, it really did lift some. Well, it really evoked that the community cares.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have people that you never met that are like coming to your aid and meeting me, and it was just it was much needed, and I'm glad that you guys are continuing with the family restoration,
Mm-hmm.
because for me, outside of my close knit friends and my family, of course you get floods of contacts during that time, but for me to be in contact with a total stranger, it really meant a lot to me that the community um in the village is coming to my aid. And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
Yeah.
that's great what both of you guys are doing. I've been able to experience on both sides.
So may I say something as well to
Sure.
that?
Yeah.
Mark, that I am too. I was the recipient of support and strength. And before, I mean, what, you know what I mean? Like at that
Mhm.
time and then
Mhm.
after as well. People called and checked on me. People helped support me emotionally, financially, spiritually, and continue to check on me. So
Yeah.
that is what I'm talking about. That it's hard, you know what I mean? It means
Sure.
everything to a mother. And that is so vital. Community passageways is vital. And you do more than that too. There's so much that you do to help the community. And I'm just saying thank you as well.
For sure. No, I appreciate that. Appreciate those words.
So, well, let's see here. Patrice, would you happen to have any questions that you would like to ask our special guest today? Patrice, are you still with us? Okay, maybe she might be. Let's see. Let's continue here. Can you give us, and either one of you guys can and fill in and jump in on this question. Can you give us a recap of 2024, some of the major milestones and achievements that your organization has successed in 2024 and possibly moving into 2025 as we're coming toward the end of the year? Some of the efforts that you guys are putting forward, or maybe new programs or workshops that'll be rolling out that the community can tap into and have something to look forward to.
Yeah. So I believe we've served and got job placement, housing resources, and things like that for over 150 kids this year throughout 2024. Um,
Wow.
Kids and young adults. Um, we have we ran a group this summer. So yes, the Black community, but we kind of reached over in the East African community, which is also a vital part of our our ecosystem. We reached over, and there are 20 young people that earned $1,000 stipend this year for going through a life skills class. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, that sat through 4 to 6 weeks to learn about their self, the way that they think, and then how they can identify when they're being triggered or just who they are in certain moments, and they can have control over that.
Love
Um, and so we were able to provide those young people with more money than I mean, at 14 and 16, $1,000 is like a
Wow.
million to them.
Yeah.
But that as well goes back into their household. I know some of the young people, uh, they didn't even receive it; they gave it to mom, and so mom was able
wow.
to benefit from them coming and doing something positive in their life. Um, we've just recently launched, well, from the summertime, 100 days of peace.
Mm-hmm.
And the 100 days of peace, we started off with the traffic jam for peace, which actually made national news. And it was just to bring awareness um, to like the issues that we have going on in our community and that we're trying to help stop. But from there, we've done over 50 to 75 surveys of young people, and just asked them what do they need, how safe do they feel in their communities, what kind of things are they into, what kind of
Hmm.
jobs they want to work if they could be placed right now. And the feedback has been tremendous. And recently this weekend, they took a cohort of 20 young people that have all been impacted one way or another by gun violence, and took them up and took them to a retreat and allowed them just to be kids for a weekend and to heal and start the process of healing by being able to be in a safe space that they can be vulnerable enough to just tell their truth.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to come back and they're going to receive support. It wasn't just a one-off thing, but they will receive support from here on in the way of having an ambassador, somebody to walk with them through this nuanced place of life, but also being connected to internships and jobs, construction internships and things like that, work crews and things like that, going forward here, so that we can make sure that we keep our arms around them, we keep our eyes on them, we keep our ears to what they're saying, but they will be loved on and supported and surrounded. After having this wonderful weekend where they just were able to go and just be kids.
I love it.
That's awesome. I'm back, Serwa.
I think we're gonna be going into break here shortly, and Jenny, we will probably convey with your answer to the question afterwards, but I do have one comment before we go into break, is that last week we were at I was at and also Patrice, we were at the Seattle Police Department Black Advisory Council meeting.
Yeah.
And they were reporting that even though we have the numbers of gunshot victims, youth, it seems to be that there's like a gap there that, after a certain age, there's not a lot of services that are geared toward a lot of our males that are like 24 to, like 24 to 32 years of age. They're basically showing that data saying that this age group right here is also in need of some type
They
of
are.
other extensive resources as well too.
Yeah.
We were
And so,
well, can I say something real fast? And because that's crazy, because I just came from New York, and what I experienced down there is where it's like if one of the juveniles went into jail when they was 18 or 19 years old, and they have like rehab programs that will help them out, because basically their mental is where they left out, so it's different, in different cities and different areas. So, so I feel that we should, if someone is doing 15, 16, 20 years, their mental is not going to be on the level where it's supposed to be when they get out.
Yeah. And recently, recently one of our contracts, it extended up to 30. So we're now working with young people and young adults, 12 to 30 at this point. We just recently partnered with Urban League as well to be able to provide some of those more adult services for that older demographic. But you're right. The data is showing that a lot of these things that are happening now are happening with the older demographic at this point. And I think, just a historical context, I think that it was very popular to say that you were working with youth. And so a lot of the resources and a lot of the things, also our young people were dying at alarming rates back in 2008 and things like that. But I think we're just, the needle's moving, and those young people that have aged out of the services, like they're in a gap where they don't have the same support.
So,
yep, I'm still here. Yes. Let's see. Jenine, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Well, I know with with Flourish Financial Group, we have a cohort, and we're just finished our third, and we've had 30 youngsters youngsters, youth. They're all babies to me, but they're youth from 18 to 25. They are learning. We meet them where they're at. We ask the similar questions and have a survey at the beginning of each cohort. And it's like uh, a 5 week session. And we have people that come in, experts from the community that have knowledge and expertise in credit management, budgeting, and whether it would be buying a house or filling out legal forms. And we just ask them questions. We really meet them where they are in debt management. And it's about leaving a legacy, building generational wealth. But at the same time, we're addressing their needs as well, and we have I think it was just the third cohort. We had our first intern that just graduated, and we're looking for mentors and mentorships in job placement, those things as well. But we talk about, breathing, and we talk about, dealing with different trauma, what they've gone through and how to handle it, and personally and collectively. And so there's just different ways, breathing techniques and other things we're looking into. But yeah, that's been since last November. So yeah, there's it's very successful. They're thrilled. And then we take them they graduate, they get a stipend as well. And then we take the Gen 3, we call each class a gen because it's a generation, right? Each generation, we're building legacy one class at a time or one gen at a time. And then this last time we took them bowling and just watching young men and women, just playing and having fun, and then, giving their testimonies, and, and they're sharing how it's the best time of their life, So just coming together is powerful, and we're like a family at the end, right? And then again, it's not just those 5 weeks. It's we are in it for long term, longevity as well.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you for those answers and all that resourceful information both of you guys gave us. We're getting ready to go into a break, and when we come back from the break, we'll resume with our conversation.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for joining the Mother's Justice Show.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
My name is Serwa Ashford, and I'm filling in for Reverend Harriet Walden. And today we have two guests on our show, Jenine Lewis and Mark from Community Passageways. I am now going to turn over to my co-host, Patrice Thomas, and roll away, Patrice.
Hi, you guys. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Patrice Thomas. So, holidays is really important to me, knowing that I lost 2 kids to gun violence. So, how important is family during the holiday season, especially for those affected by gun violence? In what way do you believe family support impacts the healing process for those who have lost loved ones to gun violence, particularly around the holiday season?
Yeah. Jenine, you want to go first?
Okay. All right. No worries. So, yes, it's a time, it's like a hole. It's like a hole in your heart, right? And we know cognitively it's not going to be filled by Elijah, right? So, or whomever that is for you. And so to me, it's so important for organizations or for that support, because in many circumstances, the family is splintered or fractured, right? And at times we might be apart from each other, right? Because of the grief or past circumstances. And so healing is different for everybody. And the algorithm is not, you know what I mean? There's no algorithm. So it takes time, and sometimes space is important to heal. But that's when, calling out for help and for organizations to be, on call, but so to speak, to be able to not fill in, but to bring in that love, that support needed, whether it would be financial, whether it would be having a dinner. I've had community members invite me over to their homes. It's important. It means everything to me. I know it would mean, and I know that there are people that are alone on the holidays because their families are out of state. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think like Jenine said, right? Like that's a hole that can't be filled. But love can be given. And I think like that's the most important thing, is that in this season, being intentional about really going and bringing genuine love and care, and sometimes just company. Is the most important thing with our young people. And when I say young people, I mean I'm talking again 12 to 30, right?
Yeah.
Some of them have lost brothers, cousins, and they're walking around with this. And so just calling them just to check on them. You got somewhere to go? We have an event. It's called the Turkey Bowl that is going on. It's actually, I believe, this Saturday. But they do a whole month of service to the community. And some of those young people, they're brought just to be around the caring adults and go out and serve, even trying to fight through their trauma, but then to go and feel like you're part of a family and you're giving back, and somebody cares. It's sometimes, that's all that's needed for some of our young people. But then to call, for us to call moms and bring a turkey and bring some resources, just in a time that she's grieving, because every year, like this is the year where it's time for family. And so just being a true support, a true loved one in the season goes a long way.
Well, thank you guys for your answers. I'm going to go to the next one. What can we expect in 2025 regarding your organization efforts? As we look forward, what are some expectation new goals in your organization you guys have set for 2025 due to gun violence and to supporting families?
Yeah, I'm trying to work myself out of a job. I'm going to be honest with you. And so I think we've had some successes this year. We've also had some failures, and sometimes those failures they help you grow the most. And I think.
So, what do you guys' expectations set for 2025?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So, So we had successes in 2024. We've had failures in 2024. And so for 2025, I think we're at a place of getting it right. And so what is it? So for us, I have two teams that are under me. One is our street team, so our community safety ambassadors. And they're responsible for building one-on-one relationships with young people that are impacted by gun violence. And so it's really serving them in a full way, that we take them from wherever their minds are when we first get them to walking them through really that change talk and that change of mind to really have value for their life. And so it's really being experts at the work that we do. I think that's where we're headed. Raising the bar, like leveling up, being super professional about what we're doing. And so that means more cohorts and groups of young people. So we have them in space, finding them more funding and internships and money opportunities so that they're not out here surviving, but we could take them from surviving to thriving. Supporting the schools. So there's a big push for school safety. And what does that look like for us to have staff inside schools like Garfield, Rainier Beach, Franklin, Nathan Hale, Ingram, just across the city? What does it look like for us to have boots on the ground and people inside the school all day so that they have support from the CVI work? So we're going to continue to do that. And again, I'm in a place in my leadership role. I'm trying to help my staff level up to a point where we can truly work ourselves out of a job one day.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So with Solace, we just continue to meet monthly. We've talked about carrying these walks in other cities, and there's some of our loved ones who are disabled. So providing activities and events for mobility, people with mobility issues, so they can be included as well. In March, it'll be Elijah's 2nd anniversary. So on that weekend of his anniversary, we hope to secure a performance hall locally and welcome and honor the community whom have lost loved ones. Everybody's welcome, but especially honor those the family, and then invite them to create either a video or a poetry, or a painting, or let's say have an interpretive dance, have a whole dance troupe, have representatives from each family come and be able to practice and rehearse and be in union together as we practice for the event in March. And whether that would be a video or not, that's all being determined, the date and the time, probably the last weekend of March. So yeah, we're really looking forward to that now that the cohort has ended and, the winter, like the fall has ended. We can gear up and focus on that in March and just, let's see, that's continue to meet monthly, but that's the next event. We'll have a retreat coming up, hopefully, in about 4 to 6 weeks as well. And there'll be members of Solace and community members that have a chance to go if they'd like to come. So yeah.
Sounds lovely. Okay. I want to thank both of you guys for sharing specific events that, help memorialize our lost loved ones in honor of their memories, and also sharing information around resources, turkey giveaways, and family gatherings that help support survivors and their children, and just community and all. More importantly, I would like to ask, are there any topics today that we didn't get a chance to discuss that you would like to shine some highlight on if we haven't covered it?
I think just one is how do we start further upstream with our elementary school kids? I think that in thinking about like how do you like stop a disease, right? Because that's what we're battling, the disease of violence.
Right.
when you have somebody who's healthy, how do you nurture them and grow them in a way that they don't get infected by somebody who's contagious?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we have to surround our elementary school kids, and we have a whole generation right now. They may have some trauma, they may have some things that they've been witness to in their homes and things like that, but they're still at an age where they can truly be impacted by the love and support that we give them, and they can truly come up in a way of thinking that is different from this generation that we're dealing with right now. And so I really hope that at some point we can just move further upstream and really take advantage of those young minds that are just sponges. And if you preach and you teach healthiness, healthy ways of thinking and dealing with their emotions, like it becomes their norm. And so by the time they go from 9 years old, by the time they get to 16, like, no, I think and I do different because I've been taught that. And so I think like that's a place.
Mm-hmm. I think that is a real chronic topic that needs to be triaged because, as we know, a lot of our violence that's happening in our community, a lot of our children are joining gangs at the ages of 10 and 11. 11 seems like about the number that I keep hearing being echoed around in the community. And I definitely feel like that is a better way for a better outcome is to get them early before they get infected. I know me myself, I'm on a group on Facebook called The Future of Seattle Public Schools. And I would like to see more of us in that space or taking up space on that particular platform around this violence piece. I mean, the closing of the schools is really a lot of some of the parents worry, but for me and the majority, I would say that the violence that's happening in the schools, and I would like to see more support from community members around this particular topic about violence and just not the schools closing. And so I'm definitely with you on that one. And
sorry,
go ahead.
Serwa.
Go ahead.
No, and for me, it's just like back in the days, we have to teach our kids to be leaders and not followers. And just because like nowadays, these kids are real different from where we came from. And they think they have to just fit in to a different crowd and to be like popular or anything. We just have to just keep encouraging the kids to be successful. You're going to be somebody. And if they do get into the wrong, crowd of people, let's redirect them in the right direction. But nowadays, you look at these kids nowadays, we'd be scared to say something sometimes.
Yeah, and we can't be. So that's the other thing. We can't be scared of our kids,
right?
But truly, what needs to happen, right? I mean, a way to go about it, and what I've seen across the country, we got to create a system for what that looks like. Not just people just doing things based off of passion and their heart, but really being skilled and really having a system that surrounds these kids that we know they're going to get this when they're 8. There's these programs when they're 9 and 10, and by 11, there's also these after school programs. But you've come through a whole system, and that purposefully has grown you in a certain kind of way in order for your mentality to be healthy. What's the system behind it, though?
And like you said, every time we end up getting something or coming up with the answer for something, there's always a group that's trying to dismantle or cut the funding from things of that nature. So we always have to be on the innovative side and ready to pivot, but also having those foot soldiers and warriors ready to battle that and not be afraid of that, and to continue to step into the light for the future and the purpose of our younger generation. It looks like we have just a few minutes left here. And before time ends out, I want to thank both of you guys for joining us today and shedding light on these crucial issues and your insights and the actions that you're taking, and the striving for a safer future is always the goal and the mission. And let's keep this conversation going and working
Absolutely.
together towards meaningful change. Um, and I will leave it open to any last remarks or comments or plugs that anyone wants to put out there. I want to say to each and every last one of you, and also to our listeners, have a happy holidays and Thanksgiving, and be safe and love on one another, because every day isn't promised to us.
Yes, I want to say thank you guys both for coming, and happy holidays to everyone. Holidays is hard for us mothers that has lost our children due to gun violence, and we want to just thank Community Passageway for just being there for the kids at their time of need. We really appreciate that.
Sure.
We really do.
Sure.
Appreciate
Thank you.
Jenine.
Thank you for allowing us to serve.
Thank you for having that platform for people to come and share what they are contributing, but also being raw and real. It's what it takes. That's what this is all about. And I love it. I really appreciate that, the opportunity today to share.
Yes.
You are welcome. You are welcome. Well, if that is it for everybody, I think we'll close out with one more song that we have on our list. And remember that you can always go listen to the recordings of the podcast. This is the Mother's Justice Show, 1150 KKNW. I'm Serwa Ashford. I'm filling in for Reverend Harriet Walden, and I am part of Mothers Impacted by Gun Violence. And I just want to say again, thank you for listening.
Just like a star across my sky, just like an angel off the page, you have appeared to my life. Feel like I'll never be the same, just like a star